down those malware detectors. This ain't no phishing scam. It's HowDoWeHuman. It's the podcast where we overanalyze every last one of the uncomfortable small moments in life. I'm mixing things up today. I'm one of your hosts, Evan Cox.
I'm one of your hosts, Chris Binning.
Today we are talking about fishing, but not that kind of fishing. I was being coy. Like
Oh,
I was being coy. It's not we're not fishing with a ph. We're not talking fish with a ph, although we could a little bit. Get into jam bands. We're talking about going fishing, something I've been doing a lot lately. But before we cast out to the sea, I would love to know
cast out to the sea.
Not sure what that was.
That was under the sea,
okay.
But with the words you use.
Cast out to the sea. I'll take it. Chris.
Yeah.
How you doing?
First of all, we've had many Little Mermaid character issues on this podcast. And now I need to just clarify. Do you think Ursula is a part of the song Under the Sea?
She is the lead singer. I knew I was about to get roasted for that. Listen, I know Under the Sea is sung exclusively by Daveed Diggs. And no one else.
I'm doing all right. A little update on my antibiotics. In the last episode I was prescribed amoxicillin, and then I was having some bad reactions, so I called up the dentist. I was like, what else we got? And then they were like, he'll call you back. And then he never called me back, and I just got a notice on my phone that said, you have a new prescription for clindamycin. And so I look up clindamycin, and it's like, this is a last resort antibiotic. It should only be used if all else fails, because it quadruples your rate of contracting colitis. And
damn it.
I went and I picked up the prescription, but that, it felt strange to me that we would go to the last resort, especially when the dentist didn't call me back to find out, well, what kind of reaction are you having? And so I just, forced myself to try the amoxicillin again. I had a chunk of time where I was no longer violently ill from it, and decided to just take it again. And now I haven't had that same reaction. So hopefully all will be good there. Have you ever been in a situation where you're like, I don't know that I want to take that medication that's been prescribed to me?
Specifically, I still don't exactly remember what I was on. Similarly, and hey, maybe this is what I'd prescribed to you. Something was going on with me. I was on a medication that was making me sick. But it was like I had to. I don't remember what it was. Maybe it honestly could have been amoxicillin. I don't remember. But there was a situation where it's like, you have to keep taking this, but it is going to make you nauseous. And so they prescribed me something that they prescribed to cancer patients going through chemotherapy. And I'm like, we sure about this? Is this okay? I take this? Absolute fucking miracle drug. I don't remember the name of it. Hopefully you don't know the name of it. If you're familiar with it, sorry. But incredible, just completely squashed nauseous feelings without any side effects. And when I was feeling better, but still taking it, I had to take it in, because it was like, you have to take it every some weird number, 4 hours or something like that. So I was going to see the Foo Fighters, and had to bring it with me, because I was going with a friend, and they were going to make me sick. But when I had to have it checked at the gate, the security popped it open, and he's just like, "Oh man, miracle drug!" Like, he knew what it was, and he's like, "I'm glad you're taking the good shit." He probably thought I had cancer, but I took that. I took that sympathy.
Do you this is another little thing that I've come across where, like, because I'm supposed to take mine every 8 hours,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes I'm not awake for 16 hours of the day.
Yeah.
So that I could, take one when I wake up, then 8 hours later, then the other 8 hours and go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And so there have been a couple days where I've only taken two for the day. And other people have been like, well, it says 8 hours, but that doesn't really mean 8 hours. Then why does it say that? I don't understand what this misconception is of, like, you don't have to exactly follow the prescribed instructions.
When I was working at Walgreens, and this is not what we're talking about today.
No.
This is not even how I'm doing. But when I was working at Walgreens, I was very close with a lot of pharmacists, and I learned so much shit like that from them. Because it sounds like it's just like FDA. I don't know if FDA is in charge of, like, how they list the dosages, the dosage they recommend, but it sounds like it's very like a too many cooks corporate structure sort of thing. It can be very like, this covers everybody. If everybody just kind of takes it in here, that's fine. But depending on your symptoms, a pharmacist might recommend differently. Which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, it
Hey,
is annoying because it's like,
it
well,
is.
Should I be taking them more like 6 hours apart? Who knows now?
Yeah,
It's just annoying.
it's nice to be able to talk to a doctor.
Yeah, instead of just getting something popping up on your phone. But anyway, Evan,
Yeah. Hi.
something that is going to pop up on this podcast right now
Mm.
is you and your life story. Because I got to know how you doing.
Well, I was born in Brewster, Washington.
Is that named after the character in Animal Crossing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and Brewster's Millions.
And Brewster Springsteen?
And Bluesters Cloosters. I was gonna you had an update to last week's episode. I also have an update. Remember how my internet was all fucky and I couldn't record?
I sure do.
My video quality was poor, and now I'm back. What happened? Well, I had moved my PC at some point, and because it needed a Wi-Fi card, and it has the two antennas going out the back. Those antennas were touching the metal legs of my desk, canceling all internet. That's all it
Nice.
was. It took me like 2 weeks to figure that out. So we're good.
Huh.
We're popping again. Tell me about it. I want to talk about my favorite place I go, the grocery store, the local Stater Brothers. I was in line. I'm buying some food. There's a guy behind me. We're both by ourselves, but I'm clearly buying food for two. You know, this guy is buying a single cooked rotisserie chicken. Could be for two, but he's buying it by himself. The cashier,
and no other items?
No other items.
Okay.
The cashier's checking me out, looks over to him, and says, the old lonely bachelor meal.
Oh, no.
I was like, we've all been there. I mean, part of that was okay to say. I don't know, you needed the modifier lonely.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the whole thing. The guy that he was joking, the cashier was joking with me and mentioned something about being on the spectrum, so we'll give him a little leeway there, but it really made me laugh.
it just, like, I can't stress enough how important self-checkout is.
Yeah, that's good stuff. We don't have that up here.
I know you don't, and that's a real shame. I know that self checkout is under threat of going away due
Is
to
it
um
people?
poor behavior of people who um use it to steal, and then also go on Instagram and TikTok to proudly declare that they stole through self checkout.
Nice.
So I know that self checkout is going away, but or is potentially going away.
We'll see
But
about that.
man, I these types of interactions are exactly why I want to fight for self checkout. Because that is awful.
They're all really nice people, but I had a situation where like I go there enough that they recognize me, and normally I am buying a lot of groceries, food, meal stuff. And one day I was just like, oh, we were kind of broke, and I don't know, buying some hot dogs or something. Just like I barely had anything, just getting like bare bones to make a meal that night. And the cashier was like, "Oh, not a lot of food today." Yeah, no, it's not.
Not a lot of money
Not a
today.
lot of money today. Like, all right, we don't have to. It's before we were recording, you were talking about over quipping in movies. I'd
Yeah.
also like to take that out of grocery store cashier.
Yes,
Doesn't all
please.
have to be a quip. You don't have to comment on everything you see. You can be perfectly nice and just be like, "Hey, how you doing?" And, oh, cool. Give them their stuff, take their money. Great, have a nice day. That's a lovely interaction.
Love it.
I remember those people.
Yeah. If there's a store where I see my options of cashiers and I recognize that one of them is a fast scanner who's not trying to talk a lot,
Mm-hmm.
that's the line I'm going to every time.
Yeah, that's the good stuff. I do also, before we get into this, gotta say, when you were up here, I think I mentioned it when we went to the lake in Crestline. There was that grocery store that the roof had caved in from a fire.
Oh yeah.
I pointed it out. That has reopened. It's called Goodwin's and Sons. It's amazing. And you and Catherine need to come up here so we can go to the grocery store together. There is no self checkout, but I think you're gonna love
Okay.
it.
All
It's
right.
fucking huge. It's so good.
Well, speaking of a lake nearby, Evan, is it time to
Oh,
talk about fishing?
yes. It is not a. I was gonna make a fishing noise, but it is not a lot of noise. Recognizable noises, without having a sound effect of that.
Well, you've been out fishing
True.
out in the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
How has it been going? The last time you brought it up on the podcast, I think you were fearful of,
Yeah.
what am I supposed to be doing out here?
Yeah, and that's been a lot of it. Is I don't know. It's a weird world now. It's period. It's a weird world now.
Yeah.
And YouTube exists, and like as a person that loves to learn new hobbies, new skills, YouTube is a godsend. It's also a terror dome, but it's an amazing place with a lot of good information. So I'm just watching a lot of fishing videos on there, and there's even like specific fishing YouTubers in this area that specifically fish these lakes that can give you information. So it's like that's nice, and it makes me feel like I know a lot now, but I don't have as much hands-on experience, and so I still personally I have yet to catch a fish. I'm not
Oh.
I'm not concerned about this. Jocelyn's got two. And I'm tying those
So
lines, so it's like
we really caught them
we're
together.
kind of together. And
I loosened the lake for you.
I've got like 3 solid bites and reeling them in. Saw the fish jumping, reeling it in, but then like before I can get it to shore, it gets off. So, maybe I just got to get better at that. But I have killed some fish. and eaten some fish. We've got a bunch in our freezer, and I'll have to tell you about that. But the big thing with being new to fishing and still not having caught a fish. Granted, I've caught fish when I was a kid.
Okay.
Participated in a trout fishing competition as a kid in town. In my memory, I caught like 8 fish. That feels unlikely. What do you, biggest fish you ever saw story? But so I'm like, I'm good, and I'm not wanting to go out of my way and kill fish. I'm just enjoying. It's a great excuse to be outside. I enjoy the hobby side of it, learning the knots and what baits to use and different rigs. So I'm like, I feel like I'm good. But man, everyone that finds out about that treats me like I'm such a sad little Make-A-Wish kid that they need to help catch a fish and need to like pat me on the back and be like, it's gonna be okay, man. You'll get one. Oh, just keep going right here. Oh, let me show you the good spots. Just leave me alone. Please just let me. I'm doing this so I can relax. I don't want this, but I'm finding that the going out in nature and relaxing also comes with the most social interactions I experience up here, and most of them, by and large, are great. The fishing community seems like a very nice group of people, but there is a point sometimes where I want to just be like, can we tone it down a little with the advice and the words of affirmation, and just kind of let me chill here. I've got an Arizona watermelon beverage. I'm having a good time. I've got snacks. I get a cast. Whoosh, it makes that fun noise. I'm happy.
Good.
That's all that's going on.
It
there.
does feel like that is, all that should matter.
Yeah. Because like if I don't know, if I'm catch and releasing, yeah, sure. I look forward to it. I will catch a fish sometime soon because we've been going a lot. But it's not chief concern of mine. It would be different if Jocelyn hadn't caught a fish, and it's not like I'm being competitive with her. I'm just like, if neither of us had caught a fish, something's going wrong, really, really wrong. But she's caught a fish. I'm good with that, and it was delicious.
Well, it's interesting because I'm glad to hear that you, are okay that, somebody's been catching fish.
Yeah.
Because it would be very easy, I think, to fall into the like, when the fish just don't like me, but they like my girlfriend. So I'm just a loser in the boat.
No, there's nothing more I relate to than not liking me and liking my girlfriend. Me and the fish get along. Have you ever been?
Yes, okay. I have. But not for like decades, probably at this point.
That's where I was at.
I remember going fishing with my grandfather in Utah. Ooh. And we sat out there for a little while. It was probably my dad, my brother, and my grandpa. And none of us caught any fish. Hey. We sat out there for a while, didn't catch anything. Nobody else was really out there, so it's like maybe they all know something that we don't. Possible. And then I think I also have like I have a memory. I can't remember where we were, but we were with my aunt and uncle, and it was either like Lake Tahoe or Lake Powell or something. It could have even been when I was on a Grand Canyon river rafting trip with them. Damn. It was some sort of outdoor water locale. Yeah. Which makes sense because this is about fishing. We weren't in an aquarium. We were at an
That's good
outdoor
fishing.
place where there are fish in water.
SeaWorld? Catch me a big one.
But I don't remember if I ever held the fishing line with this, but there were kids in our group, my cousins, and I think some of their friends, maybe some family friends with young children. But I have a memory of the younger children each like one at a time having the line and then reeling in. And it's like, oh my god, they're all catching a fish, but it's all the same fish. And so
Oh.
I believe what they had done was just like one would catch it, just kind of throw it back, and then let the next kid reel it in, and everybody feels
Just
like a
like keeping
winner.
it on the hook.
Yeah, that's what I think happened, but I don't
Yeah.
really remember like all the details of how it worked out.
This is what I was wondering about that too, because I do have memories of catching a decent amount of fish as a kid. Like,
Mm-hmm.
did I? I didn't. I should ask my dad, because similarly, he and I and my grandpa would go out. I famously told the story of sticking my thumb in the oarlock. We remember this. Because I was bored out of my fucking mind.
Yeah.
If you haven't listened back that far, long story short, I was a kid and bored out of my fucking mind and stuck my thumb in the oarlock and it got stuck. And I just sat there like that for a good 10 or 15 minutes before saying anything. Fishing. That's my kind of fishing. Everyone leaves me alone and lets me do what I want. Interesting. So yeah, long story. I just wonder how much help did I have? You know,
Yeah.
I'll have to ask my dad. Probably a lot.
Yeah, I mean fishing is definitely like I don't know how much I would enjoy it now as an
Okay.
adult. Because I think there are parts of it that I would enjoy, which by which I mean um getting a bite and then reeling something in. That
Hey.
part sounds great.
Okay.
Everything after and before that, I don't know. I don't know that I would enjoy putting bait on the hook. I don't know that I would enjoy sitting around and waiting. I don't. I think the thing that I would enjoy the least is getting after it's been reeled in, and hey, maybe this is premature of me to be like, that's the part I wouldn't enjoy. A part that's never happened to me and could potentially never happen.
Yeah.
If I do a bad enough job. I'm talking about getting the fish off the hook.
Mm-hmm.
That's the part of fishing that I think I would enjoy the least.
Yeah. It's a
Not
lot.
including like killing and cleaning the fish if I were to do that.
Yeah, it's that's the tough thing is we were kind of saying let's just while we're getting quote unquote good at this, we're practicing, we're trying to get better, we're new, let's not plan on keeping anything. Let's just catch and release. But that first fish that she caught was what they call gut hooked, meaning it had swallowed the bait
Mm-hmm.
entirely, so the hook was deep in there. And looking online previously, you generally hear like fish don't survive that. Even if you get the hook out and toss it back, it's just gonna die.
Yeah.
So might as well kill it and stop the misery and eat it. So I did that, and that was my first fish killing, and it was yeah, it was a lot. I don't like taking lives of things. I'd done it before with a crab. I had to boil a crab recently. I didn't love that either. But I'm getting more and more heartless as I go on.
Oh, he says with a smile.
It's like it just does get easier the more you do it. But yeah, I don't know. It just feels weird.
So did you get the hook out first or did you kill the fish first?
Could not get that hook out until I killed it. I kept trying, but you stick a pliers or whatever down a fish's throat, it starts wriggling. Yeah, wasn't happening. It was mildly traumatic. I got it done. We didn't waste that fish, and so that is good. But yeah, that's I don't know. I've just got a moral contradiction here, which is again is part of why I'm like, I don't really mind just because I like the before and after part of it. I love, again, just the hobby. I don't know, setting stuff up, casting out. It's fun, and I like sitting around in a chair. You know,
Yeah.
but there also is, which I've enjoyed learning, the multiple types you can do, because you could do that, put some like power bait on it or whatever, and cast it out, let it sit there, and sit down, have yourself a snack or whatever. But you can also use lures, which is like a constantly active version of fishing. You're just casting and then reeling back in and doing stuff with the rod. So yeah, if I'm like antsy or bored, that's fun. That's probably why I'm not catching fish, because I'm not good with lures, and that's mostly what I end up using. But it's fun. I don't know. So sue me, fish.
Yeah.
Fish
Um
court.
I I have a question.
Ooh.
And because you have not caught a fish, I don't know if this has come up yet or if you've thought about this, but there is and granted this is more prevalent amongst single men, the lonely bachelors.
Rotisserie
Uh
chicken types.
yeah, is taking a photo with
Mm,
the fish you caught.
yeah.
Is that something that you ever plan on doing? Do you where are your thoughts on
It's interesting.
catching a fish and then using it for the gram?
Fish pics. Uh, yeah, I mean, especially when you're getting into it and looking around, that's all you see is a lot of fish pics. I got a lot of friends with fish pics. Previous 2 episodes ago, guest Dustin. There's a lot of bass fishing, a lot of fish pics, and I'm cool with that. It seems like, from what I can tell, most of the people who do take pictures are catch and release fishers. So you just got to learn how to handle the fish. I'm not very concerned about it, but you could probably have guessed that by how often I'm posting on social.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not a big concern of mine. I did take a video of Jocelyn catching her first fish, but then stopped the video prematurely so I could grab a net and help actually get the fish out. But yeah, I've always thought that, like, I don't know, yeah, if I catch like a weirdly big fish for what I was looking for, might take a picture of that. I don't know. We'll see
Sure.
when we get there. But whenever I say we'll see when we get there and it comes to Instagram pictures, we're never going to get there. But we'll see. Honestly, I'm at the whim of others 9 times out of 10. If Jocelyn's like, let me take a picture, I'll pose with it. Someone else's, because all these
Any
fucking,
fun poses you're thinking of doing with your fish?
yeah, like holding it like it's my penis, making everyone
Yeah.
laugh,
Right.
deep throating it. No, I don't know. I'll just hold the. I was just hold the fish in my hands. I don't know. It doesn't seem fun. I have a hard enough time posing
Right.
for pictures in the first place.
Yeah.
And when I'm asking, like, what do I do with my hands in a photo? The answer is not like, put a fish in it. Put something slippery and wriggly in there. That'll take your mind off it and you'll look great. No, I don't know. Would you, if you went now and you caught your first, as far as you know it, fish?
You know what? I think I would take a photo. I don't think I would post it necessarily.
Yeah, I could see that with
But
me
I
too.
do think I'd take one for the first fish that I caught.
Yeah.
That feels like enough of a momentous occasion.
Blow it up
And then
poster
similarly,
size,
like
put it
you
in the
were saying,
bedroom.
yeah, I mean, for sure. Um, I also think like you were saying, if I caught one that was bigger than expected,
Yeah.
or hey, there's some pretty fish out there.
True.
If I caught a little pretty one,
You got a butte.
then you sure maybe I'd take a photo of that
You
too.
take a photo of
And
a
would I take a
butte.
photo of every single other fish I caught? Yeah, probably.
Probably.
Would it always be in the same like two different poses of men on dating apps?
Yes.
Yes, because I would think it'd be funny, but no one else would recognize the concept or what I was doing, and they would just think I'm part of the problem.
Would actually having these photos of me holding a fish make me want to kind of get back on the dating apps? Yes. Of course. Lead off picture. Me
What
and a
if
tiny
there
little
was
trout.
yeah, yeah, the smallest little fish you've ever seen. What if okay.
Okay. Now we're
Okay.
getting into it.
What if there was a dating profile
Ooh,
that
imagine.
was like, picture number 1
Yeah.
is, guy with fish.
Yeah.
Second picture is that same fish but with a different guy. And then slowly you realize it's actually the profile for the fish.
That is so good. I was going a different direction, which would, I think, actually be a good dating profile. That's a great dating profile for a fish. And I bet you would get responses. It's very, very funny. I was thinking it's a guy posing with his fish because he likes to fish, but then every photo is the exact same pose, just holding other hobbies of his, like
Oh, that's
holding
good
a
too.
chessboard,
Like a bowling ball. Like,
some of his friends.
yeah. If you're a lonely bachelor rotisserie chicken type,
Hey,
please reach out to us. Evan and I can really help spice up your dating profile.
start a dating app called the Rotisserie, something like that,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it is like a rotisserie. You're going through it. You're slowly getting
Sure, you're
hotter and
going
hotter.
through it. Yeah, getting hotter and hotter
Things get
until
crispy.
until it's time to get pulled apart.
Yeah, and eaten.
Yeah. I like it.
God, I'm hungry. Your profile would do great on Plenty of Fish.
Yeah. I really, man, like there's so many ideas that I have where it's like I can't code and I don't want to find someone who can. So I guess my ideas will just never come to fruition.
Well, you know someone who can code like 5%, so we can
Okay.
make something really shitty.
It's like I had ideas for like even something like just putting together like a choose your own adventure game or whatever online, but I was like, I don't
Yeah.
could write it, but I don't know how to like build it. And
I
if
could
I
probably do
can't
that.
build it, they won't come.
That's
So
true. I mean, if you can't build it, they can't come.
that's true. That's what it is.
You're edging them.
Um, you and I have talked so much about in the past, and we'll get back to fishing in a second, but
Absolutely. I got a tall tale to tell.
we've talked so much about how we both think we'd be good at writing genuine erotica. That like
Yeah.
if we do that and combine it with our choose your own adventure coding games,
Okay.
we'll be millionaires, Evan.
It's true. I would like to be a millionaire.
Yeah, me too. Tell me your tall tale, Evan.
So I was out, or Jocelyn and I were out fishing the other day. We went to where was that? That was Lake Gregory, the lake that we had checked out.
Yes.
We've ended up, there are like 4 different lakes we've popped around between that, Green Valley Lake, Big Bear. That might be it. We saw another lake we were going to go to, but oh no, we went to Silverwood Lake, which is beautiful. We got to go back there. Whew, lovely. And they have camping there, so we're going to figure that
out. Okay.
Anyways, so we had camped at Lake Gregory a few times before and just never had shit for luck. It's often very busy there and unappealing. But we found a spot that we're like, ooh, this at least is a relaxing spot. It's not super crowded and it is very naturey. Because the other, it's like you're either right next to a parking lot or you're like tiptoeing along, like there's no room to put a camping chair or anything.
Yeah.
You're like on your toes or just we got some water shoes, whatever you call those things, wade into the water. But this is like, okay, there's room. There's a little walking path there, but it feels like you're outside, and that's mostly what I care about at this point. So we're over there. First off, we're doing our thing. We're trying to fish. And someone comes up and is being very helpful. And I'll say it in a good way. They were super helpful. But it was also a little bit much. But weirdly, they also were very insistent that they recognized me. And that felt weird.
Listeners of the pod?
I don't know. They're like, do you do this? Are you an actor? I'm like, no. Like, you have a podcast? I'm like, yeah. And Jocelyn's like, yeah, but it's not popular. I was like, all right.
Yeah, but nobody listens to it.
Back up. But anyway, so yeah, I was just in a situation where they were giving us great information. Oh, no, this killed me. There was a thing that killed. There were two things that killed me. And then I'm off, my anxiety's going off. The first
and
thing,
one of them wasn't that it was pointed out that the podcast is not popular.
Weirdly, didn't affect me at all. So when you're making what they call a Carolina rig, you got a little sinker here. The idea is to sink that weight to the bottom and then have really light line with something that floats on top of it. So it's, I don't know if that makes sense, but it's just kind of floating off the bottom. The line should be invisible theoretically. And the line coming off of the weight they call a leader. And so you generally want like a foot to 2 or really like close to 2 feet, somewhere between 18 inches and 2 feet of leader. And we'd been doing that a bunch and a bunch and a bunch. And at a certain point, we weren't catching anything. I'm like, hey, Jocelyn pulled her line in, and I'm like, let's try different depths. So I just made a shorter one. I was like, I don't know, maybe they're down there. Maybe they're not seeing what we're putting out there. Let's try something. And then this person comes along, being very helpful. And that is the leader that they see. And they're going like, oh man, that is way too short. Like, you gotta, and it's like, oh, stuff I know. It's like, oh yeah, we do it by your arm. It should be like at least 18 inches. I'm like, I know. Let me pull mine out. That's what it looks like. We were just trying something. Isn't that okay? But I felt like an idiot, and I shouldn't have. Who gives a shit? But they were like, all right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you some of my leader because it's lighter. I'm going to give you smaller hooks because that's going to help, and give you the spray stuff that the trout are just going crazy for. And they gave me their leader line, and they're like, tie this to the thing. And so I'm doing it, and I break it. I break the line as I'm tying it, because of course I can't do it when someone's watching. And they're like, oh yeah, you got to do it this way, not that way. I was like, I want to go home. But again, they were very nice and super helpful. And we did catch a fish after that. But so I'm off already, I'm like, I'm in my head now, and they're also being the like, it's okay, you'll catch a fish, don't worry about it, I'll help you. I'm just like, okay. Whew. So they go back to their spot. They're like next to us a little ways away. We're talking with them a bunch. And this whole time I had been reeled in because I was hoping they'd see my leader, and they didn't. But I'm like, all right, I'm just going to cast out again. Let's go. And they'd also mentioned, like, you guys are casting too light. You got to really put your weight behind it. So I'm like, now I feel like everyone's watching me cast, and this sucks. And so I really whip it out there. And of course, wave, completely shank, miss my target, go to the left. It's a long cast straight across like 5 other fishing poles. So now they're upset and they're like, oh, don't reel in. We'll get this untangled. And he comes over to me. He's like, let me do it. And he takes my pole and does it. I'm just like, I feel like a fucking toddler. Like, I feel like I just go back to that mindset. Like, I'm an idiot. I hate this. They get it untangled. It's all fine. But these guys, this is what I want to talk about. They're over there. And the person that's helping us is like, honestly, where you're at, you might catch a fish. They're at the good spot, though. That's where all of the fish are. And they are catching fish after fish after fish after fish while we're just sitting there with nothing. And that's annoying. I'm not annoyed when it's like, oh, Jocelyn caught a fish. That's lovely. Love it. They caught like 12 fish. And I'm like, what the fuck? Are they ever going to leave? And we can take their spot. So it's 2 guys. Seems like friends, and each of them has a toddler about the same age. So it's these 2 guys and their 2 sons. Just a couple of dudes and a couple of little dudes. They've got their 2 fishing poles. And then one of them has a second fishing pole. And then they have 2 fishing poles for the kids. One is a kid's fishing pole. One is an adult's fishing pole. This is 5 fishing poles. Every one person, you're technically only allowed to bring 2 poles maximum. But these are for the kids.
Yeah.
And they loved fishing these kids as they were running around nowhere near the poles, practically sticking their thumbs in oarlocks, getting in the water, being told, get out of the water, etc., etc. So it's like, all right, we've got no chance. There's 5 fishing poles in the best spot. They're catching everything. It's fucking annoying, but it is what it is. And, I'm not going to tattle on them. It just is what it is. You also got a limit on how many fish you can catch. I believe it's different per the lake, but I believe your limit for trout is 5 fish.
Okay.
They were doing catch. Caught something on the little kid's pole, a tiny little fish, and they're just keeping all of these. Put them on a stringer. So they're like still in the water, keeping them like cool, but they're tied to the shore. And I'm like, what are they like? When are you just gonna leave? You have all the fish you can catch. Stop it. But apparently they really wanted these fish, so they're not catching and releasing anything. Then they start to pack up. It was a slow pack up also. It was like, all right, bring the car over. Yeah, we'll pack up some stuff. Then they fished for another 45 minutes. But then it got to the point where it was like, oh, they're actually leaving. They're picking up the poles, taking them out. The one guy still has one out there. He's still like, 12's not enough. So they put some in the cooler. And as they're packing up, I went over there because Jocelyn asked me to, because I'm a coward. But I went over there because she asked me to. I was like, hey, just because we've lost spots like this before, you guys taking off? You mind if we take this spot? I'm like, yeah, go ahead. But what happened, I went over there, and the guy looked at me and was like, you want some trout? And I'm thinking like, yeah, we want to fish in the spot where all the trout are biting. So I say, yeah. He's like, no, he wants to give us all of the fucking fish he caught and killed.
All of them?
Well, they took a large chunk of them, but 6 of them. And I'm like, you don't want
When
these?
he was counting and realized he took too many.
Like, you don't want these? He's like, oh, my freezer at home is full. Catch and release, bro. What are you fucking doing? So he's just got all these fish. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want them to go to waste. Like, one of them was like the tiny one the kid caught. Still, like,
Right.
fuck it. Killed it. We're not going to take it home. Like, and we see it all over the place. Whenever we go to these lakes, like on the shore, whatever spot we find, we'll find like one or two just dead fish on the shore that people leave. I'm like, what the? Do you dislike fishing and you just want to kill something?
Yeah,
Is that the
it could
plan?
be.
I was baffled by it, but I'm like, yeah,
Trying to get bears over. I don't know.
exactly. We'll take them. So we did, and shared with the person that was helping us. They took one of the fish. I'm like, oh, we'll have this for dinner. I was just like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
It was, and then I was like, until we got rid of that one, I'm like, well, now I'm over the limit. There was also another guy that gave us one fish. Someone else caught one and then was walking away like, you guys want this? You want this ratty old thing? It's like a decent sized trout. I'm like, yeah, I guess. That one was still alive, so I had to kill it. It's weird.
That is weird.
People are strange when you're a stranger.
Yeah, do you think people up in the mountains are just like so bored that they
don't know.
Be like fishing just to kill time?
I do not know. Yeah, I guess it was weird, but I'm like, it's weird the difference between like, I'll look around the fishing subreddits, and the degree to which it seems like the majority of them are like anti taking home fish. Like, you should never take them home. Catch and release all the time. And then in actual practice, it's just like, you should kill all the fish and leave them there. Because it's fun. I guess.
It's weird that would be the attitude of people on Reddit.
I know. Believe you me. It's one of the nicer communities I've come across.
Maybe I shouldn't be asking you this, since you know, as you've said several times now, you haven't caught a fish.
Here we go.
My father-in-law likes to fish.
Okay.
For Christmas 2 years ago, my wife got him like fishing trip for us all to go on. Okay. And then we've never gone. So if I were to start advocating for this fishing trip, what tips and tricks, what are the things that I need to know to get to not embarrass myself on a fishing trip? I think, you know, we've talked about cartoons recently. I think something that I also am worried about that I haven't mentioned before is casting, and then the hook gets caught on a belt loop, and then I go flying into the water.
Give yourself a wedgie.
Yeah.
All the fish are laughing at you.
Exactly. I don't want this.
Yeah, don't do that. I don't know that I'm the person to give any advice, but yeah, when casting, you gotta look out for trees, look behind you. It's okay to do a side cast sometimes if you don't have room.
Can you underhand? Like, when you
do a full softball pitch or fastball over
Yeah, I do think, and I did do this when we were axe throwing. I don't know if you noticed, but there were a couple times where I did it as if I was a major league pitcher, where I would, you know, look from the side and then do it. So
that's great. I love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say mostly
anything.
It does depend on how are you comfortable with other people setting up your pole, or you want to be able to do that yourself.
There are very few people that I want handling my pole. That's absolutely true. As far as bait goes, by the way, you got like worms? You touching worms? What are you doing?
We are generally not. We dislike that vibe. because we don't like killing stuff. And it feels weird. Like the whole idea is like put a worm on there and keep it alive. And that feels unnecessarily cruel, even if worms don't have much in the way of brains. So we generally, we'll do power bait. I've been using lures, crank baits, and cast masters. Having a lot of fun with those folks. But and yeah, like gummy. You can get plastic
gummy
You can
worms.
get gummy. I mean,
is that what you were gonna say?
Genuinely, like we went with Jocelyn's parents, and her mom uses Velveeta cheese, and she got some bites on it. She said that's what she's been doing since she was a kid. People use hot dogs. I hear corn kernels work well, so kind of just do whatever the fuck you want. It sounds like, and
Okay.
see what happens. I like Pop-Tarts. Maybe fish like Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
Not the edges, the good middle part.
The good stuff.
But we did have one situation where a guy was leaving, and I was going up to the car for something, and this guy went up to Jocelyn, and he's like, hey, we're taking off. You want these night crawlers? And so she took them. Two little, you can buy them at the grocery stores up here, like the size of if you were getting a side of beans at KFC. But full of worms. Or rather just like dirt with like 3 or 4 worms in there. And so I'm coming back. I didn't hear the conversation. He leaves, I'm like, oh, hey, oh, thanks, appreciate it. Thinking like, we don't want to use these, but we'll be nice. And she said that she's like, oh yeah, okay, well yeah, sure, we'll take them. And he's like, he pointed at me. He's like, he'll show you how to put them on the hook.
This is something late in the podcast to talk about. Is we talked
misogyny?
a lot off mic about masculinity and misogyny and gender stereotypes, but yeah, that's definitely a part of fishing that it's one of those. I mean, I don't know how interested like society as a whole is in fishing.
Yeah.
Across all the different demographics, but it does kind of feel like you don't hear as many stories of women trying to get into fishing.
Yeah. There's a surprising amount of that out here. I think it's way more common now. I told Jocelyn, like, the hard thing for me, because everyone has been so nice. There's a like even that guy where it's like, oh, that's okay, that's shitty. But he was being super nice and gave us worms.
Right.
So just had to make a very misogynistic comment and assume which of us had caught fish before. Incorrectly. But I forget where that train of thought was going, but tell my worm story. What were we just talking about? Why did my brain...
Ladies fishing. And good for them.
Good for them. We love to see you out there in a nice dress. Kidding.
Yeah, with your high heels and your nice dress.
The things you can accomplish in your high heels. We love it. This is jokes and arguably not funny.
And bringing us a sandwich.
We did it. Now we're a popular podcast.
Yeah, whoa.
We did
now
it.
People are going to recognize you around the lake.
Well, there's Joe.
Aren't you that guy that said the ladies should wear a nice dress when they go fishing? I love your podcast.
I love it.
My wife doesn't, but
she's stupid.
She doesn't get it. She doesn't get comedy like you and I do.
Real comedy. The kind that makes other people feel like shit.
The stuff you can't say anymore, which is why it's said on every fucking podcast.
That's why
in the
it's
world.
So popular. We're not bitter. We're two nice little boys. We love
one last thing I want to talk about, and it's only tangentially related. Okay. But
I gotta finish that worm story though.
I didn't realize there was more.
There's just a little bit more to say that I did end up using a worm. I did not like the way it felt. I did not catch a fish with it. I just lost that worm. And that's on me. I will face that in death.
Yeah, one of your biggest regrets
Yeah.
is losing that worm.
Back to you, Chris.
You've been to Bass Pro Shops?
Oh, that's what I was going to say. Weird. I have not. There is one in Rancho Cucamonga, which is 45 minutes or so.
I drove past it on the way to,
that's the
to
one.
your place.
We have not been there because it's kind of inconvenient to drive all that way.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say, talking about general misogyny, is what's been hard for me with like generally how nice everyone is, even though you've got to assume out here like probably 50% of them, if I knew their beliefs, I would not like them. But like growing up, I don't know, it might have been, I don't know if these people were in Arizona also, but growing up in a small town, like people wearing Bass Pro Shop hats, that is a look of a racist monster who will beat me up. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. We got a Bass Pro Shops when I was in high school or maybe late middle school.
Okay.
Because it was like an event similar to when IKEA opened up in Phoenix. It was like we all have to go and walk around it.
Yeah. In the same direction, following these arrows.
And I kind of equate we've talked about this with theme parks a little bit, but like Bass Pro Shops and like the Rainforest Cafe, like I just love a themed area.
Yeah, me too.
There's nothing for me. The Fry's Electronics that closed out here. They used to be all alien themed.
Fantastic.
I love good ambiance and theming. And so I do have an appreciation for Bass Pro Shops. Okay. When I drive past it, I'm like, I kind of want to go in there.
Okay. I've never been. I didn't
know nothing for me in there.
Yeah.
But I do like, I remember going when it opened in Phoenix, the whole family went to Bass Pro Shops.
Okay.
Nobody bought anything, but we all kind of walked around. They've got a bunch of, I mean, I'm sure that they're, fake and not taxidermied, but they've got a bunch of like animals in like diorama museum exhibit, like looking settings. So I do, I have an appreciation for it, but you're right. The demographic that loves Bass Pro Shops, I don't think that we love it for the same reasons. Yeah. Which is they associate it with kill. And I'm like, look at the craftsmanship on the wolf exhibit. Like
I could get into taxidermy.
It's a little different.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Look at all these animals hanging out together.
They look like friends.
They look like friends.
What is this, Madagascar?
Everybody else in there is like, I would love to shoot one of them.
Even if it was voiced by John Leguizamo? Think about that.
I mean, as you mentioned earlier, because so many of them are racist, they would probably be more enthusiastic to do that. But allegedly,
listen, racists love Ice Age. I'm just throwing that out there.
That's an interesting, like,
I've never seen it.
What this is? You've never seen Ice Age?
I've never seen. I have seen like. I wonder. I don't know if I've seen a single DreamWorks animation movie outside of Shrek, the Shrek movies.
Really?
Yeah.
You never saw Boss Baby?
No.
You never saw Ants?
Okay, yeah, I know Ants.
The Prince of Egypt.
I saw Prince of Egypt.
The Road to El Dorado.
I've seen Road to El Dorado and Puss in Boots: The Last Witch. The Last Witch.
That's still. I think that's Shrek adjacent enough to be.
That's fair.
still included, but I'm working my way through.
How to
I
Train
mean,
Your
I guess I
Dragon.
don't know if
I
you.
have seen.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
sure. How to Train Your Dragon. Kung Fu Panda, of course, the other big
Have not seen Kung Fu Panda
franchise for them.
or Madagascar
Um,
or Ice Age.
I don't know if you count these collaborations with Aardman, but
Hey, I like that
Chicken
flick.
Run and Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Were Rabbit.
Those are above DreamWorks. Yeah. So ran. Oh, I have not seen B Movie.
Oh, after all we talked about with Jerry
I
Seinfeld off mic before
know.
this.
Oy, oy, oy. Okay. So I've seen a handful of them. I was wrong. Anyways, but the vast majority of these I've definitely not seen. As I scroll through the slowest loading website I've ever seen. We should probably start to wrap this up. I forgot there was a movie called Flushed Away from the
Yep.
same Aardvarks.
Yep.
What were we just? We were going somewhere.
Oh, I was gonna say before you
Uninterrupted.
mentioned DreamWorks, and we are gonna wrap up here in a second. But because you said racists love Ice Age,
Yes.
I don't know if there's a way to. And of course, as we all know, Ice Age is not DreamWorks, but
Is it not?
it's not. It's from the now defunct Blue Sky
Oh.
Animation.
News to me.
But
I have to update
anyway,
my blog.
I know there was like, I saw an article that was like, "Oh, Ice Age's movie or one of its sequels did so well on Netflix. Does that mean that a sequel could be coming?" It's like their whole studio shut down, so I don't I don't know about that. Anyway,
Interesting. Never heard
but
of
like,
them.
is there a way to find out what the most like quote unquote diverse movie that racists love is? Like, could that be a thing that you could figure out?
Hey,
I don't know.
we'll get to coding.
Yeah, after we do our genuine erotica, let's find out
Yes.
what racists enjoy.
In that order.
Yep.
Okay. Rio,
Speaking of order,
Peanuts movie. Ferdinand.
yes, their last project that they were working on when they shut down was Nimona. And then I think Disney bought Blue Sky, maybe, because they buy everything. And then they were like, Nimona's a little too LGBTQ plus, my friend, so I don't want nothing to do with this.
So, according to the Wikipedia, Nimona was picked up by Annapurna Pictures for release on Netflix June 30th, 2023. Does this sound correct?
Yeah, it did. They did eventually, like, the project was dead, and then somebody, Annapurna, I guess, picked it up. But it was, they had been trying to make it work with whoever, they were in talks to make it work after it was announced Blue Sky would be shutting down.
Like a dog named Anna. Anna Purr? Nah.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Another thing that's true is you can find this podcast on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, anywhere that you get your podcasts. You can rate, review, comment, follow, subscribe, all of those things that will help us get pushed up in the algorithm so that perhaps we can start overtaking some of these deeply misogynistic popular podcasts. You can also check us out on our social media. You can find us on Instagram at HowDoWeHuman.
We got that handle.
Facebook at HowDoWeHuman.
I don't think you're ready for that handle.
YouTube at HowDoWeHuman.
We love these handles.
You can leave us a voicemail from a phone number that you can find on our website, howdowehuman.com.
323-657-9896.
Or you can send us an email to howdowehumanpod@gmail.com.
The best part of that email. Oh no, handle is that it's not email.
Boy,
Wow, fuck that up.
in that intro, you were like, "Oh, we're really switching things up,"
Yeah,
and
I
then you tried to switch things up here at the end, and
switched
it
too
was,
hard. Do
yeah.
have an important thing to say about the phone number, though.
Oh,
We got a call that did not leave a message. Spam
interesting.
or a shy listener?
Spam risk.
Spam risk? Or someone who was not prepared to be greeted by my answering machine message and got scared and hung up. It's an LA area code. If that's you out there, leave us a message. We won't tell. Many.
Yeah. Evan, it's time to continue our trivia battle.
I guess. Let's go.
We are, of course, playing to 100 points. The current score: Chris 54, Evan 47, Dustin 4.
Dustin 4.
And let's see how things go today.
Okay.
Question number 1: what continent is Moldova a part of? Europe, Asia, South America, or Africa?
Oh, I hate how easy this feels, and
Yep.
I feel wrong.
Yep.
Moldova. Fuck. I'm mainly in between two. Moldova. Yeah, I don't think that's anything I can specifically pull out of my brain. So first instinct, I guess, best instinct. I'm going Africa.
I'm also going first instinct, best instinct, but I'm going with Europe.
Okay. South America was my other answer.
Okay, South America was the only one I had completely ruled out. So let's see.
Fair. Europe.
It is Europe.
Shit.
So that is a point.
I forgot how few
for me.
How few countries are in South America, and that I have named most of them. Damn. All right. How many officially recognized independent states are there in North America? 11, 16, 3, or 23? This is confusing.
I don't fully know what this means.
I assume.
So I would. Are we assuming states is countries?
I'm assuming it's the states that have been added that aren't a part of the 50. You know what I mean?
Oh, so you're saying like you're saying Puerto Rico, for example.
Puerto Rico's, etc. But it also officially recognized independent states in North America. So that's including Mexico and Canada.
Correct.
So the answer is I don't fucking know. This is gonna have to be a guess.
This is gonna have to be a complete guess, and
I guess Puerto Rico wouldn't be an independent state necessarily. It's considered part of the United States.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if I mean, I know is the Yukon independent. I don't know.
I have no idea. I'm between two, and I mean, literally, it could be any one of these, and I would not be surprised. Well, actually, you know what? Now I'm not between those two anymore, based on poor test taking rationale.
Okay,
I'm gonna go with 16.
Got it.
I was between 3 and 11, and then the last answer was the first option. So I moved away from 11 and I've jumped to 16.
Okay.
16 is my answer.
I'm going to undercut that and go with the 3.
Okay. It was 23.
All right, Michael Jordan.
In what century did Leonardo da Vinci paint the Mona Lisa? 18th, 16th, 19th, or 12th?
Oh, I hate this. All right, Da Vinci. When were you doing your thing, Leo?
I'm between two again.
Mona Mona Lisa's Smile came out in 2003. I made that up. I might be right.
It's a good question. Let's find out as we...
Mussolini.
When did
Mussolini?
Evan?
2003?
Mona Lisa Smile came out in 2003.
Fuck yeah. Do I get a point? Do I get a bonus name my own question?
Yeah.
I have a guess, and my immediate instincts have been wrong every time so far, but I'm going to stick with it. I'm real bad when it comes to... I'm bad. When it comes to knowing what century things happened. It's like...
Yeah, me too.
There's the centuries I've lived in, and then there's the past. I'm going to say the 16th century.
That is also my answer.
Feels like a lot of stuff happened then.
Yeah, I was between 16th and 18th, but I'm going with you on the 16th century. And we are both correct.
Edit out everything I said. We are smart. Confident. Retake that. Leonardo da Vinci painted the Mona Lisa in the 16th century. I know this because I read and listen to NPR. Oh, good. I love this. What is the name of the flat, square prison that holds the Kryptonian criminals in the Superman movies? The Dark Zone, the Krypton Zone, the Phantom Zone, or the Cold Zone? This is one of my favorite things from movie history. I think I know this too. I wish I was more confident on the name of it, but that image is wonderful.
I think I'm pretty confident, so I don't
feel pretty confident. All right. But you seem more confident, so I'll just say it. I'll get it out there. The Phantom Zone.
It's the Phantom Zone. Right. Yeah. Unless the Lego Batman movie lied to me, but that's what they call it in that movie. So I believe it's the Phantom Zone.
There was a reference to that in the Lego Batman movie. Now I got to watch that.
We are both correct. It was the Phantom Zone. Last question.
Smart. Do we know when Leonardo da Vinci was around? No, we had to guess. Do we know the name of the flat prison from the Superman movies? Yes. Apparently we do.
Evan, if you get this question correct, regardless of what I do, if you get this correct, you will break 50 points. So
let's go.
A lot of pressure here.
Huh.
What would you add to a Welsh rarebit to make a buck rarebit? Leeks, blood sausage, lamb, or an egg?
Okay. I don't know. I had a first instinct, but it kind of feels like I'm being tricked and led in that direction.
What, do you know what a rarebit is? Because I
have at some point. I don't right now. I believe it's just a specific cut of meat. And then the Welsh rarebit is the recipe of it. I was going to say, because it's Welsh rarebit. Like, this is Brit food. I fucking love that blood sausage. But I feel like that might be a trick, and I want to change my answer to an egg. Un oof.
Okay. I'm between blood sausage and lamb. And I think both of them are tricks. So I just don't know which one I want to get tricked by.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll go with blood sausage. And that's
cruel.
Your reaction is the only reason I'm going with blood sausage. Is because I want there to be that sort of devious nature. Yeah. But let's see. I'm not confident at all. Let's go.
Hey!
It was an egg. You were correct, Evan. 50. You are now at 50 points.
Did you still?
And I'm at 57. We tied. We both got 3 correct. So
I thought so.
The point score doesn't, or the differential doesn't
caught
change.
Up to you with that. I thought I did. I can't have you moving any further ahead. It's time to make my move.
We stayed in the same place. Just Now you have 50 points.
Stayed
So
in the Phantom Zone.
Halfway to the goal.
And then the gold. That's at the end of this quiz. Didn't mention that. There's a pot of gold at the end of this. And one of us gets it. And we'll see how much gold's worth now. I don't know.
I don't know either.
But I do know there's a teeny little bit of gold in my toenails.
That's
Which
true.
we learned from doing this quiz. Probably roughly a year ago. I don't know when we started this. But I think that was our first quiz, had that question.
It may have been.
Hey.
And now here we are. 50-some points later.
50-some points and 2 or 3 points smarter than we used to be. Well, there you go. After a short little sicky episode where we're both talking about fluids coming out of us, you get a real full-length banger of an episode, some long how you doing, some fishing talk, and a quiz to satiate our friends. And what more can be said except Leonardo came by?
Yep.
Yep.